Hey everybody, thank you for joining in with Sweet Love. My name is Osset, and today we'll be making banana bread. So let's get started.
If you would like to follow along, you can click the link below that will take you to my website where you will find the recipe and many more. Thank you so much for subscribing and liking.
I already have measured out the oat flour and almond flour and baking soda, baking powder, salt. So we have here 157 grams of oat flour, 155 grams of almond flour, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So that's what we have here. These are the dry ingredients. And now we're going to be measuring the sugars. So this recipe is gluten-free, vegan, and refined sugar-free. I try to have all of my recipes as little refined sugar as possible, especially if they're vegan and gluten-free, because otherwise it's like if you aren't providing a healthier option overall, like what's the point? You know, you've got 75 grams of coconut sugar. So 75 grams of coconut sugar, 95 grams of maple syrup, 68 grams of grapeseed oil. I only ever use maple syrup as opposed to agave because agave is more processed maple syrup. And I only, for like oils, I only ever use grapeseed oil. The grape seeds come from grapes from wine. It's a byproduct of wine, essentially. And then we want like 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla, so just like a dip, that's it. We're gonna let that mix for a little bit while we get the bananas mashed up. And so for bananas, we just want 175 grams. So like most of my recipes, I try to make them very simple, straightforward, just no fuss, as simple as possible. You can mash it with a fork. I like to mash, if you'd like, you can mash it with a fork. I like to mash it with a whisk because it gets it mashed like baby food, I feel like, faster than a fork does. I love this recipe for breakfast, for snacking. When I sell these for my accounts, I sell them in like mini loaves. It's super cute. Yeah, it's great for a snack. It's great for breakfast, great for dinner or after dinner snack. Great, so now it's getting nice and mushy. You can see that there. You do want to have some like bits of banana in it, but I also want it to be pretty mushy like this. And that's perfect consistency. Now we're going to add the chia seeds to the banana. So in addition to this being vegan and gluten-free, it's also healthy for you. Banana has a lot of health benefits, like it's great for your heart health. It's got potassium and supports that. It helps to increase your energy because it's a carb, not like a refined carb. Think of like carbs come from the ground, protein moves around, and it's a good carb. It's a carb you want to eat, just focused on weight, of course. It's a good carb to help to maintain weight. It also has antioxidants. So we've got antioxidants, potassium, great for energy, great for heart health. And they recommend that you eat 2 bananas a day. You know, the saying goes, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. I actually heard a long time ago that it should be a banana a day keeps the doctor away. So while this is going, the sugars and the oil, I'm going to add a tablespoon of coconut milk to the banana and chia seed mix, and a tablespoon to the sugar and oil mix. I'm doing this because generally when I add the flour mix to here, it's a little bit too thick. And so I just want to add a little bit of moisture so it's not getting like, it's just not super dense when I'm mixing before adding the banana and chia seeds. I'm adding coconut milk to here and not all of it there because I want moisture to activate the chia seeds. And we're pretty much done. Other thing we need to do is just chop up some walnuts. And we're only doing 50 grams of that, so it's not very much. And you don't necessarily want the walnuts to be super small. It's up to you though. And I just dropped like half of it. Wow. So the purpose of the chia seeds in this recipe is to help bind everything together. It's also great just to add extra nutrient dense item to the recipe, but the main purpose is to help bind it together, as opposed to using something like flaxseed or something like that. I'm not against using flax seeds, I just noticed that flax seeds have a shorter shelf life, whereas something like chia seeds, I noticed, do not. They last longer. Like chia seed pudding, for example, it can last. All right, so we're going to mix up the dry ingredients together. So again, I've got my oat flour, and I've got the almond flour, the leaveners, baking soda, baking powder, salt, and walnuts. Just mixing it up really well in here. I'm just going to put it.
Enough.
This is down. We'll let that mix, and then that's fully mixed. We have the bananas and the chia seeds. That looks good. So now we just add in the, and we're basically done. This is a very simple recipe. I'd like to think that the most work with my recipes is waiting for things to bake, which is not a bad issue to have. Make sure you get the bottom of it mixed in really well with everything else. That's why I'm taking it off. I don't like over mixing any of my batters, so I just like to, at the end, fold everything in. We're going to use just a loaf pan. And even if it is ceramic, you must use parchment paper to line it. If you do not use parchment paper to line it, the banana bread will stick to the pan and it will not come out. I'm very particular about how I cut parchment because I don't want the paper getting stuck into the batter, so I put the larger pieces behind the shorter piece. And I find that it works for me. So that's just what I do. All right, so that's pretty much it. It's very simple. The banana bread will bake in the oven at 350 degrees for 45 to 50 minutes, or until golden brown on top, or until, actually not golden brown on top, until you are, well, you do want it to be golden brown, but until your cake tester comes out clean. Before doing that, make sure you flatten it out. Your offset or your spatula or your fingers. If you do use your fingers, you're totally fine. I suggest you just like get some water and just like flatten it, and the water just prevents your fingers from sticking to the batter. All right, there we go. Banana bread. Alrighty, so we're going to take the banana bread to the oven. Let's start with like 20 minutes. Let's start with 25 minutes. And then again, another 20 minutes and see how it is. It's time for the banana bread went off, so let's take a look at it. Let's make sure we got right tester. Is not a taster, it's a tester. See how it's doing. It needs more time. I'll give it about 20 minutes, so it'd be 45 minutes, so it'll still fine. So let's see how it is. So here it goes. It's looking great so far. I don't eat my cake taste. I keep saying taster. It's a tester, not a taster. Cake taster yet, but it's looking good. Let's give it another 20 minutes. If it comes out dry, then it's ready. And it is not dry. Can you see that? It's just got a little stuff on it, so it's alright. So we gotta give it another 5 minutes. Alrighty, let's take a look at the banana bread together.
I think it's ready now, hopefully.
Forward. Let's try. Can you see that? He's trying. So we're good. Awesome. So that was a total of 45. Nope. That was actually 15 minutes. So I really love to eat this banana bread with like almond butter and apples. Is really good for breakfast or a snack. It's still pretty warm, but it's so moist. It's really nice. And see how easy it came out of the pan? Look at that. So just don't forget to parchment paper. It's very important. Thank you so much for joining me. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to follow along with this recipe, you can click on the link below and gain access to my website where you see this recipe as well as other recipes. And if you like this video, please click the like button below as well as to subscribe. Thank you so much for joining, and I hope to see you next time.